Learn English easily with Pro English.
Welcome back to the Speak English podcast. Today, we are entering a very dangerous zone. We are talking about people's bodies. Describing how someone looks is one of the first things you learn in A1 English. He is tall. She has blue eyes. It seems simple. But in the real world, it is a minefield of potential insults. If you use the wrong adjective, you don't just make a grammar mistake. You might actually offend someone, hurt their feelings, or even get into a fight. Today, we are going to teach you the polite vocabulary of physical description. We will learn how to describe weight, age, and height without being rude. We are going to turn you from a blunt observer into a diplomatic speaker.
This topic makes me so nervous. In my native language, we are very direct. If someone is fat, we call them gordito, and it is affectionate, almost cute. But I have learned the hard way that in English, you cannot just translate those words directly. I once called my American friend chubby because I thought it meant cute and round, like a baby. She did not take it well. She actually got really quiet and offended. Since then, I am terrified to describe anyone. I usually just point at them and say that guy. I need to know, what are the forbidden words and what are the safe words?
You touched on the biggest cultural difference right there. In many cultures, commenting on weight is a sign of care. In English-speaking cultures, especially the US and UK, commenting on weight is almost taboo unless you are very close friends. The word fat is the ultimate F word of descriptions. Never, ever use it to describe a person to their face, or even when describing them to others in a professional setting. It sounds harsh, judgmental, and mean. Even chubby is risky. It is cute for babies or puppies, but for a 30-year-old woman. No, it sounds condescending. So we need alternatives. We need euphemisms, softer words that convey the meaning without the sting.
Okay, so fat is banned. Chubby is only for babies. So what do I say if I need to identify a large man in a meeting? The big guy, that feels vague. The heavy guy, that sounds like he weighs a lot on a scale. I need a word that is descriptive but respectful. Is there a medical term I should use, like obese? Or is that too clinical? I want to be accurate, is not thin, but I don't want to be the office bully.
Obese is strictly a medical term. Do not use it unless you are a doctor holding a chart. If you use it in casual conversation, it sounds incredibly clinical and cold. The safest, most polite adjective for a larger person is heavyset. He is a heavyset man. It implies a large, solid build without judging the fat content. Another polite option for women is curvy, which implies a feminine shape or full-figured. For men, you can say big or broad, meaning wide shoulders. He's a big guy. It's neutral. It acknowledges his size without focusing on his stomach.
Heavyset, that is a new one for me. It sounds solid and respectful. Now, what about the opposite end of the spectrum? In my quest to be polite, I sometimes tell people, "Wow, you are so skinny." I think I am giving them a compliment because in my head, being thin is good. But sometimes they look annoyed too. Is skinny an insult? I thought it was the goal. What is the difference between skinny, thin, and slim? They all seem to mean not fat.
This is a classic false friend concept. In English, skinny can be negative. It implies too thin, maybe weak, maybe unhealthy. It's like saying you are just skin and bones. If you tell a man he is skinny, he might hear you have no muscles. The positive word you want is slim or fit. Slim means thin in an attractive, healthy way. Thin is the neutral word, it's just a fact. Slender is very elegant, usually for women. So, skinny, negative / weak, thin, neutral, slim, positive / attractive. If you want to compliment someone, say, you look great, have you lost weight, or you look really fit.
Slim is the winner, got it. Okay, let's talk about height. Tall is easy, everyone wants to be tall, but short. I feel like calling a man short is a sensitive topic. It hurts the ego. Is there a polite way to say a man is vertically challenged? I heard the word petite once. Can I use that for a man? He is a petite man. Or does that sound feminine? I want to describe my boss, who is a small guy, without getting fired.
Do not call your boss petite. Petite is exclusively used for women and usually implies short and thin, delicate. If you call a man petite, you are emasculating him. For men, we have to be very careful. You can simply say he is not very tall. We use the negative form of the positive adjective. Instead of he is short, say he isn't very tall. Or you can say he is of average height if he is in the middle. If you really must describe him, saying he is on the shorter side is softer than he is short. Adding on the side softens any adjective. He is on the heavy side. He is on the short side.
On the shorter side. That is a great softener, it feels less direct. Okay, let's move to age. This is another minefield. Calling someone old feels rude. Look at that old woman. It sounds like a witch in a fairy tale. But I also hate when people use euphemisms that are too fake, like years young. What is the professional way to describe someone over 65? Is elderly okay, or is that offensive now too?
Old is definitely blunt and can be rude. Elderly is generally polite and respectful, but it implies frailtisomnion who might need help walking. If the person is 65 but active and playing tennis, don't call them elderly. Use the term senior or senior citizen, especially for discounts. But the most accurate and polite way is to estimate the decade. He is in his 60s. She is in her 70s. This is factual and avoids the judgment of old. Or you can say he is middle-aged for 40s and 50s. Middle-aged is safe, although some people deny being in the middle.
In his 60s. I love that structure. It's precise without being an adjective. I also want to ask about hair. Describing hair seems easy colors and styles. But I made a mistake once describing a woman with yellow hair. People laughed at me. They said, "You mean blonde." Why can't I say yellow? It is yellow. And what about orange hair? Is that rude? I feel like color vocabulary for hair is completely different from color vocabulary for paint.
You are spot on. We never use primary color names for human hair. Yellow hair sounds like a clown wig. The word is strictly blonde. Spell it blonde for men, blonde for women, though pronunciation is the same. For orange, the polite term is red or redhead. Even though it looks orange, we call it red. Be careful with the word ginger. In the UK, ginger can be used as a mild insult or a joke. Redhead is neutral. For brown hair, we say brunette, usually for women or just brown hair. And for black hair, it's just black hair or dark hair.
Ginger is risky. Good to know. What about when men lose their hair? I see a man with no hair and I want to say he is bald. Is bald an insult, or is it just a fact? And what about the guys who are losing their hair but still have some? Can I say he has half hair? That sounds terrible. He is losing it. That sounds like he is going crazy. How do I describe the process of hair loss politely?
Bald is a neutral fact. He is bald is fine. However, some men are sensitive about it, so you might say he has a shaved head if it looks intentional, like The Rock. For the process, the verb is balding. He is balding or he is going bald. If he has hair only on the sides, we might say he has a receding hairline, meaning the hair is moving back from the forehead. This is very descriptive and polite. Never say he has half hair. And yes, he is losing it usually means he is going crazy, so avoid that phrase unless you add his hair at the end.
Receding hairline. That is very advanced vocabulary. I feel like a detective using that. Okay, let's talk about skin. This is super sensitive. In my country, we describe people by their skin tone all the time. The black guy, the white guy. In the US, I feel like people get tense when I mention race or skin color. What is the etiquette here? Can I say black and white? Or should I use dark and fair? I want to be respectful, but also accurate so people know who I am talking about.
This is context dependent. In the US and UK, saying black or white to describe race is generally acceptable and neutral if it is relevant to identifying them. The tall black man in the blue suit. However, referring to skin tone specifically, we use terms like dark-skinned, light-skinned, olive skin for Mediterranean Latino tones, fair skin, very pale or tan. Avoid yellow or red for skin tones as these have racist histories. If you are unsure, focus on other features first: hair, clothes before skin color to avoid sounding like you are focused only on race.
Olive skin. That is a beautiful description. I assume that is for people who tan easily. Okay, let's move to facial features. Men have so many things on their faces now. Beards, mustaches. I get confused with the names. What is the difference between a beard and a goatee? And what do you call the hair that is just starting to grow, like when a man hasn't shaved for 2 days? It looks like sandpaper. Is there a word for that sexy, lazy look?
The sexy lazy look is called stubble, or more poetically, a 5 o'clock shadow, implying he shaved in the morning and by 5 p.m. it grew back. Stubble is very common vocabulary. A beard covers the cheeks and chin. A goatee is only the hair around the mouth and chin, like a circle, with no hair on the cheeks. A mustache is only above the upper lip. If a man has no hair on his face, we say he is clean-shaven. He is clean-shaven is the opposite of he has a beard.
Stubble and clean-shaven. Got it. Now I have a grammar question that always trips me up. When do I use he is versus he has? I sometimes say he is beard or he has tall. It feels logical in my head, but I see people wince. Is there a hard rule for body parts versus adjectives? Because I feel like I mix them up constantly.
The rule is simple but strict. Be plus adjective, have plus noun. Tall, short, fat, slim, bald, these are adjectives, so he is tall, he is bald. Beard, mustache, blue eyes, long hair, these are nouns, so he has a beard, she has blue eyes. The tricky one is age. In English, we use be for age. He is 20. Not he has 20 years, and for emotions, appearance states he looks tired. Do not mix them. He is beard implies he is literally a pile of hair.
He is a pile of hair. That is a funny image. Okay, be plus adjective, have plus noun. What about glasses? Is it he has glasses, or he wears glasses, or he is glasses? No, I know that one is wrong. Does it imply a temporary state or a permanent one? Because people take glasses off.
You can say he has glasses, possession, or he wears glasses, habit. He wears glasses is more descriptive of his general appearance. Even if he isn't wearing them right now, you can say he wears glasses to help identify him. Also, don't forget contacts, contact lenses. Does he wear glasses? No, he wears contacts. Another facial feature noun is freckles, the little brown spots from the sun, and moles, the permanent dark spots like Marilyn Monroe. He has freckles, have plus noun.
Freckles and moles. Good details. Now let's talk about the judgment of beauty. We talked about fat and skinny, but what about ugly? Can I ever say someone is ugly? It seems so mean. But sometimes. Well, someone isn't attractive. What is the polite way to say, he is ugly, without being a monster? He has a great personality.
He has a great personality is the classic code for he is ugly. Everyone knows that one. Never say ugly. It is a child's insult. If you need to be honest but polite, use unattractive or even softer, not very attractive. Or you can focus on a specific feature that isn't working. He has a very distinct look. He looks interesting. Those are code words. On the positive side, remember the gender rules. Handsome is usually for men, beautiful for women. Good-looking and attractive are safe for everyone. Cute usually implies young or sweet, not necessarily hot.
He looks interesting. That is the ultimate diplomatic insult. I will definitely use that. Okay, what about distinguishing people by what they are wearing? The guy in the red shirt. Is that considered lazy describing, or is it actually the best way? Because hair and weight are subjective, but a red shirt is a red shirt.
Describing clothing is actually the best strategy for A1, A2 students because it is objective and non-offensive. Nobody gets offended if you say he is wearing a red shirt. It's a fact. The structure is the man in the red shirt or the woman wearing the blue dress. It is much safer than guessing age or weight. If you are in a police sketch situation or trying to point someone out in a bar, start with the clothes. The guy in the suit, the lady in the hoodie. It's polite and effective.
Start with clothes. That is my new safety rule. The heavyset man in the blue suit. See, I combine them. I feel like a pro. Okay, one last category before we wrap up part 1, tattoos and piercings. These used to be considered rebellious, but now everyone has them. How do I describe a guy who is covered in tattoos? The painted man, the ink man.
The painted man sounds like a circus act. The adjective is tattooed. He is heavily tattooed. Or using slang, you can say he is inked. If he has tattoos all over his arms, we call those sleeves. He has full sleeves. For piercings, just be specific. Nose ring, lip ring, earrings. Describing these is very helpful for identification because they are unique. The guy with the neck tattoo is instantly recognizable.
Sleeves, like a shirt made of ink. That is cool vocabulary. Okay, Michael, my brain is full of polite adjectives. I have learned heavyset, slim, petite, receding hairline, stubble, and sleeves. I feel like I can describe a crowd of people without insulting anyone's grandmother.
You are ready. In part 2, we are going to play a game called the Police Sketch Artist. I am going to describe a criminal using very fast, native English with lots of slang, and you have to draw them mentally and repeat back the description using the polite vocabulary we just learned. We will also talk about describing personality based on appearance words like approachable, intimidating, and grumpy. Are you ready to catch some criminals?
I am ready, officer, let's do it. Fin delaparte 1. Quieres quagener la parte 2, turnos 31 a 60. TEMA, Describing People, Part 2, The Police Sketch Personality, DURACINPARTE 2. 15 minutos aprox.
Welcome to the Police Sketch Artist game. Here is how it works. I am going to play the role of a witness to a crime. I am going to be very stressed, very rude, and use a lot of slang to describe the suspect. Your job is to be the calm police officer. You need to translate my rude description into the polite vocabulary we learned in part 1, so we can write it in the official police report. You have to filter my insults into facts. Are you ready to clean up my language?
I am ready, officer. I have my imaginary notebook open. I promise to be diplomatic. I will not write down ugly or fat. I will find the professional words. Hit me with the first suspect. Who did you see leaving the bank? And please, try to be as descriptive as possible so I can test my new vocabulary. I am ready for your worst slang.
Okay, suspect number 1. I saw him running away. He was this old geezer, really ancient. He was totally bald, shiny head like a bowling ball. He had a massive beer belly like he ate a basketball. And he had these deep lines all over his face, looked like a road map. Oh, and he had those glasses that are super thick, like Coke bottles. Go, how do you write that down politely?
Okay, that is a lot of judgment. Let me translate. Old geezer becomes an elderly gentleman or maybe a man in his 70s. Totally bald is simple, he is bald. Massive beer belly, I cannot write that, I will write. He is heavyset or he has a large build. Lines all over his face becomes he has wrinkles or he has a weathered face. And Coke bottle glasses becomes he wears thick-rimmed glasses. How did I do? Is weathered polite?
Weathered is excellent. It implies he has been outside a lot. It sounds rugged, not just old. You passed suspect 1. Now suspect number 2. This one was totally different. It was a girl. She was skinny like a toothpick, looked like she needed a sandwich. She had this bright orange hair, looked crazy, and her face was covered in zits like red spots everywhere. She looked grumpy like she hated the world. Translate that.
Oh, poor girl, okay, skinny like a toothpick becomes she is slender or she has a slight build. Orange hair becomes she is a redhead or she has red hair. Covered in zits, that is mean. I will say she has a bad complexion or maybe just she has blemishes. Blemishes sounds very clinical. And grumpy, I guess I can say she had a serious expression or she looked stern. Is complexion the right word for skin quality?
Yes, complexion refers to the texture and health of the skin. She has a fair complexion, pale. She has a clear complexion, no spots, or she has a troubled complexion, acne. You handled that perfectly. Now, suspect number 3. This guy was scary. He was a meathead. Huge muscles, looked like he lived in the gym. Ripped. But he had a lazy eye was looking at me, the other was looking at the moon. And he had a massive scar across his forehead, like Harry Potter but worse.
Meathead is definitely not going in the report. I will say he is very muscular or he is well built. Ripped is okay for friends, but for police, muscular is better. Now, lazy eye. Is that the medical term? It feels rude. I think the polite term is he has a wandering eye or he has a strabismus, but maybe wandering eye is safer for a sketch. And scar is just he has a visible scar on his forehead. That is a fact, not an insult.
Perfect. Well-built is the best word for big muscles. Broad-shouldered is also good. And yes, wandering eye or cross-eyed, if they look inward, are the common terms. You passed the test. You successfully turned my rude ranting into a professional description. Now, let's pivot to describing the vibe or personality based on looks. You mentioned grumpy earlier. Sometimes we judge people's character by their face. What is the polite way to say someone looks arrogant?
Arrogant is a strong judgment. If someone has their nose in the air, I usually say he looks confident if I want to be nice. If I want to hint that he is arrogant without saying it, maybe he looks very self-assured or he has a superior air. Superior air sounds like a novel. What about the opposite? Someone who looks weak or easily bullied. He looks pathetic. No, that's terrible.
Never say pathetic. If someone looks shy or nervous, say he looks timid or he seems reserved. Reserved is a beautiful word. It means they keep to themselves, they are quiet. It is not an insult, it is a personality style. On the other hand, if someone looks scary like you don't want to talk to them, we say he looks intimidating. Intimidating means he makes me feel small, scared. But the positive version of that is he has a commanding presence.
Intimidating versus commanding. That is a great nuance. One is I am scared, the other is I respect him. What about resting bitch face, RBF? Everyone uses this slang now for a woman who looks angry when she is neutral. Obviously, I can't say that in a meeting. She has RBF. I would get fired. What is the professional translation for a face that naturally looks angry?
The professional translation is she has a stern face or she looks serious. Stern implies strictness like a headmistress. You can also say she is unapproachable. Unapproachable means her body language says go away. The opposite is approachable. He looks very approachable means he has a kind face, probably smiling. This is a great compliment for a boss. He is very approachable.
Unapproachable. That is the perfect corporate euphemism for RBF. Okay, let's talk about grooming. Sometimes we describe people by how clean they are. If a guy looks messy-wrinkled shirt, unwashed hair, I want to say he is a mess. But that's rude. I heard the word scruffy. Is that polite, or does it sound like I am talking about a stray dog?
Scruffy is a bit informal and slightly negative but acceptable in casual conversation. He looks a bit scruffy today. A more professional word is disheveled. He looks disheveled. It sounds almost poetic, like a mad scientist. It means his clothes and hair are disordered. The opposite is Somion, who is perfectly dressed, hair perfect, expensive perfumes, well-groomed or polished. She looks very polished. That is a high compliment in the business world.
Disheveled versus polished. I love those. Polished sounds like a shiny car. It implies effort. What about someone who wears too much makeup or too many flashy clothes? High maintenance is the phrase I know, but that is definitely an insult, right? It implies they are annoying to date. How do I describe a glamorous person without judging their spending habits?
High maintenance is definitely a judgment on their personality needs. Instead, use glamorous, positive, or flashy, slightly negative, meaning too much attention. You can also say she dresses quite elaborately, or he has a flamboyant style. Flamboyant is often used for men who dress in bright colors or unique styles, like Elton John. It is descriptive, but celebrates the style rather than mocking it.
Flamboyant. That is a fun word. Okay, I have a question about resemblance. Sometimes the best way to describe someone is to compare them to someone else. He looks like Brad Pitt. but I get confused with the grammar. Is it he looks Brad Pitt? He looks as Brad Pitt. He looks like, and what if I compare him to an adjective? He looks like tired. I mix these up all the time.
This is the golden rule of appearance, look adjective. He looks tired. She looks happy. No like, look like noun, he looks like his father. She looks like a movie star, so he looks Brad Pitt is wrong. He looks like Brad Pitt is right. He looks like tired is wrong. He looks tired is right. Think of like as an equals sign equals connecting two things nouns.
That is so clear. Look plus adjective. Look like plus noun, so I can say he looks disheveled adjective. And he looks like a disheveled professor noun phrase. Perfect. What about reminds me of? He reminds me of my uncle. Is that the same as he looks like my uncle? Or does remind imply personality too?
Great catch. He looks like is purely physical, the nose, the eyes. He reminds me of is the total package of voice, the mannerisms, the personality, and the face. You might say, he doesn't look like Obama, but he reminds me of him because of the way he speaks. Also, there is a formal verb. To resemble. He strongly resembles his father. Use resemble in formal writing or police reports. It sounds very educated.
Resemble. I will put that in my police sketch notebook. Okay, Michael, we have covered so much. From heavyset and slender to disheveled and stern. I feel like I have a whole new pair of glasses to see the world. I don't have to be rude to be accurate anymore. I can be a diplomat.
That is the goal. Vocabulary gives you choices. When you have limited vocabulary, you are forced to be blunt. When you have advanced vocabulary, you can choose kindness. Before we finish, I have one final tip for describing people. When in doubt, focus on the positive feature. If someone is overweight, balding, and badly dressed, but they have nice eyes, say the man with the kind eyes. It identifies them just as well as the fat, bald guy, but the energy is completely different.
The man with the kind eyes. That is beautiful. It changes how you see them and probably how you treat them too. I am going to try that. Instead of looking for flaws to identify people, I will look for their best feature. The woman with the amazing smile, the guy with the cool glasses. It makes the world a friendlier place.
Exactly. Language shapes perception. You have the power to paint a nice picture or a cruel one. Choose the nice one. Thank you for joining us on this visual journey today. Go out there and people watch, but do it politely. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next episode where we will talk about money, how to talk about salary and prices without being taboo.
Ooh, money, that is even more dangerous than weight. I can't wait. Bye everyone, keep it polite. Findel episodiocompleto. Turnos 1 a 60 completados. Duración total 30 minutos.